Hey, what's up everybody? Frank Valkyria. Welcome to the channel. I hope you're having a fantastic Sunday. So, apparently the interview hasn't worked very well, and we're talking about the deadline interview of AH, which, look at this. In the latest TV ratings, Deadline NBC Sit Down with AH Friday night drew 2.3 million total viewers and at 0.2 demo ratings, down 18 and 50% week to week, to mark the news magazine's second smallest audience since November and a season low in demo. Wow. As you can see, probably people watched the interview more on YouTube channels. And, the problem was also, I think, they worked too much on this interview. Like, they worked all week. We had snippets and pieces of the interview like the whole week long. And then they released this whole interview. And honestly, if they had released it in one time, would have been better, because at least people would have been curious to tune in right away instead of giving little bits and then everybody jumping on it, like YouTuber included, of course, analyzing it, and analyzing it didn't go very well for her team because immediately people got pissed. So, PR failure. I'm very curious to know what it's going to happen. In a few days, we will hear probably from the court or the lawyers, spokesperson, whether or not this appeal goes through. Something is going to come out. So next week is going to be interesting nonetheless. But as you can see, it seems like that probably the team of AH is already working on another sort of rectification of the image. Of course, not a week ago, we saw her flying private jet. I have to admit that now that you do 1+1, maybe the private jet flight actually was paid for by NBC, which probably flew her in New York, if I understand correctly, right, where she was going. Probably she was flown in to give that interview. So in that respect, kind of makes sense that they flew her in. There is also an article somewhere here, which, please, you know that this stuff is out there on web pages and might be absolute bollocks. So I was reading about this article that she might have been paid $1 million. Honestly, I think she was paid probably not this much, but I'm sure that to get the interview, she was offered for sure something. Whether that being 100,000, 200,000, and the flight, I think it's probably north of that. I have to be honest. I think to secure this interview, most likely they've given her a good amount of money, but $1 million seems a little bit a lot. But anyway, we will see. We will see anyway. This thing will come out. So I was saying, TMZ here has already published a little snippets of AH going shopping in a more affordable chain called TJ Maxx, which I've never been in one because they don't exist here in the Netherlands. But I understand the type of shops, so it's more like probably a friendly to the wallet type of shops, maybe like a H&M or something, or a Zara, or some kind of shop in that direction where you go buy more affordable clothes that have a good design. I don't know. I'm just speculating. I have no idea. And honestly, this feels also probably not very natural. Because if you think about it, probably maybe I'm just speculating here with you, that maybe they're just trying to bring this image out of a person that it's more underdog thing, like how would somebody be there and immediately be alerted? Seems like, of course, she's a very public figure, but yeah, you know what I mean? It feels like it might be done in purpose to stir up a little bit of sympathy, perhaps. I don't know. Honestly, I think after this interview, the best course of action would be just to be quiet, honest to God. And anyway, like, for us to feel sympathy for this person, it's gonna be really difficult because she's relentless. She's not letting go. She's a probably on the verge actually of getting another defamation lawsuit. This is an article that came out in the Sunday Express, and again, don't quote because you know those newspapers out there are. They kind of react on a rumor. We react on a rumor. We share the rumor, but at least I have to make you aware that those things are just, you know, like a little bit to create clamor. But I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to actually come out with an official statement. Actually, they did. They did already in the interview Dateline, where they talked about, they were kind of disappointed that AH was trying to rewrite basically the verdict and to relitigate a matter that was already decided in the court and by the jury. So they did release a statement. So probably this news, these headlines are just a sort of like kind of interpretation of the meaning of that statement. But I wouldn't be surprised actually if AH team continues to go in the direction of defame Johnny Depp, because actually that's what they're doing. They don't forget that in that interview it's aired and it's there, and she again called Johnny a liar and an abuse. I have to watch out what kind of words I use, because every time I say like DV or EPV or whatever, I always get the yellow icon, and then it's like the video has to be checked. It's like literally like that. It happens to me all the time. I have no idea if somebody kind of reported me, but almost every video has to be checked. So anyway, I'm paying attention with the wording here. Let's say the villain. She's the villain. And again, called Johnny the villain. Many times. It's there in the eye of everybody. Everybody can listen to the video. So I wouldn't be surprised if the lawyers, they come with another statement saying like, hey, you gotta chill, because otherwise you force our end to get back into court. And like I said, then maybe that's what they want, because maybe she thinks that she might have another chance. I don't think it's a very good idea, honestly. I think honestly the best course of action now is just do nothing.
A good victim, I get it. I'm not a likable. I'm not a good victim, I get it. I'm not a likable victim. I'm not a perfect victim, but
I have never wanted to be seen as a victim, nor have I ever called myself one.
The op-ed wasn't about
Wasn't about Johnny.
I wrote this op-ed in the context of many men at the time, not just Johnny. My dog stepped...
Not just Johnny. It's actually, I have to pause a little bit because otherwise we get the copyright claim of the music.
...on a bee.
Excuse me? Did you tip off TMZ?
He certainly didn't get tipped off by me or anyone in my...
tip off?
I love that. I think there was a charity something with Mike Tyson. I love that. I think I even left a comment on one of the video, because like my dog stepped on a bee, then the bee. Mike Tyson dressed as a bee. That dog is messed up. You don't want to step on that bee.
TMZ.
Why would they?
$100 billion.
$7 million in total was donated. I made a pledge, and that pledge...
Heard says she still plans to honor that pledge. I still have love for Johnny.
I love him.
If you had a sister and a dog, I'd choose the dog.
My credibility, to call me a liar in every way you can. And
That was the trial. It was a credibility contest.
And
that was it.
That was a nice super cut. Whoever did this, very good job. That's exactly why I look on the internet for this stuff, because I love everybody's thinking of this, but then when you see it back to back, right, it just blows your mind that it's literally the same person in different moments saying absolutely opposite things, and then you're like, woman, please listen to yourself, it's out there. How do you expect to be credible? It's all out there. Woman, please take care of yourself. Try to work on yourself. And I want to finally actually show you that this is an article that was written in 2016, May 29, 2016. A guest writer, Doug Stanhope. And this is a very good friend of Johnny Depp. there was a comedian, very smart comedian. Actually, I didn't know him. I was watching some stand-up comedy. Very brilliant, actually. I'm surprised that it's not more well known. At least I didn't know it, honestly. So I was actually enjoying his comedy, some of his comedy that I was watching. But what is interesting is he was a friend, he's still a friend, but he was in that time around Johnny Depp. Him and his girlfriend have seen this thing happening up close. And this is already an article coming out in 2016 where basically he's already telling everything. Literally is predicting the future. And it's incredible because if you're interested, it's on the rep. I link it below. But the thing that is most fascinating about this article, we'd watch it build up like this since before they were married. We watch her manipulate and F with him for years. We didn't say a word to each other, yes, but never to him. I mean, they said something to each other, but not to him. When your friend is in an awful relationship, man or woman, and you risk weighing in that their counterpart is a demon, you know the odds are they will jump right back into their fire and then dump you from their life for being honest. That's exactly the truth. Most of us have been on one or both sides of this coin, choosing to be blinded or removing the people who have clearer eyes that can guide you. The fact that Hollywood and the entertainment industry at large, F society as a whole, turns a blind eye to the domestic V is abhorrent. But the tides have turned in such a way that mere allegation that such a crime has occurred leaves the person accused as guilty without due process. That's exactly what happened to JD in those years. My girlfriend Bingo and I have known JD for a few years now. We have watched AHF with him at his weakest, or watched him at his weakest from being effed with for the entire time we know him. The time we know. And we didn't say S because he's Johnny Depp. And we didn't want to be thrown out of the circle for saying that the emperor was being stripped of his clothes. I mean, this is big stuff. This is 6 years ago. And he came basically forward in defense of the friend and also telling the truth, telling his side. He's probably one of the first friends that came in, like, you know, barging in, defending Johnny, which I think is great. It isn't my place to name people who agreed with us, but I couldn't name one person closely associated with him that didn't feel the same. But nobody said S to his face. Bingo and I were at Johnny's house for most of that Saturday until just before the alleged assault took place. So they were there. We assumed initially that his dour mood was because of his mother's death the day before. But he opened up in the most vulnerable of ways that it was not only his mother, but that H was now going to leave him, threatening to lie about him publicly in any and every possible duplicitous way if he didn't agree to her terms. This is Dog Stanhope 2016. Blackmail is what I would imagine other people might put it, including the manner in which is now being vilified. We stopped not saying S. Bingo and I together and then separately told him how much we were aware of this manipulative a-hole, how his closest circle had all agreed on this since the day we met, and that we all feared that telling him outright might alienate us all. Love makes you do funny things. I told him the truth, and I half expected to be asked to leave, but I wasn't seeing Johnny Depp. I saw a naked emperor, and we told him to get dressed. Other people came in and out during that afternoon, all verifying that we had been cowardly saying things only behind his back for so long. He seemed dumbstruck that nobody had ever come clean about this, and he thanked everyone for being honest. Amazing. He still pronounced his love for A, but was presciently aware that she was going to pull off some kind of ruse to F him over. He hadn't slept in days with anxiety. You call him a paranoid if you didn't know better. But he knew better, and he was right. As he finally felt like he could sleep, we left him. From what we know now, read in the news later, that night the police were called to his house for a dispute, finding no criminal act and occurred and no sign of physical and then the police left. Everything Johnny had told us that she'd been threatening had actually come to be. It blew up in the news, raced through the internet like a plague, and blew up on Twitter like it was the McMartin child scandal. People are swarming with torches on social media. I watched it all happen ahead of time, and I watched it come to fruition today. And I haven't been able to sleep again because I didn't say yes to defend him. Why? Because I felt like in defending him, I would just come across as a sociopath trying to attach myself to a sensationalized story in order to further my career. I let the day Kalin, and now, as the sun is coming up, I realize not saying yes to defend him is a far worse crime of ego. To leave a friend hanging so you don't look like a suck up. I and we that were there aren't suck ups or apologists. We were witness. I didn't jump into the fray because I was weak. It was because I didn't want to look like a name dropper. I'll name drop now. Johnny Depp is my friend. But any one of my friends will tell you I always call them out on bulls. Always bulls. Johnny doesn't A anyone. And he told me the day ahead of the time that she pulled some kind of S like this. Johnny Depp got used, manipulated, set up, and made to look like an a-hole, and he saw it coming and didn't or couldn't do anything to stop it. He may never talk to me again for saying it, but I'll never forgive myself for not coming to his defense out of fear or ego. I stand up for my friends and I tell the effing truth. So this is Doug Stanhope writing this article May 29, 2016. And actually I wanted to read this article because when you read this article, you realize that the truth was already known by his friends. And now it seems more plausible, but it really shows how careful we have to be, not only with listening, but also listening carefully, because things can go either way. And in this case, we realized and we brought to the surface a manipulator, a narcissist, somebody that went out of her way to destroy another person's life. So just listen carefully. Thank you so much, Doug Stanhope, for writing this article at the time, already in defense of JD. Guys, please subscribe if you want to. Leave a like or a comment. I'll see you next video. Ciao.